welcome. We are continuing our talk about the Switch 2, the super controversial, according to YouTube, new console. And today we're going to be talking about all the accessories. So maybe you were fortunate enough to get a Switch 2 for the holidays or for a present. And no problem, these accessories are all going to be super reasonably priced. No, that's a lie. Nintendo is not going to beat those allegations that they are robbing us blind. So, for this discussion, I'm continuing with the look inspired by Tom Nook, is our capitalist icon that Nintendo could be channeling in some of their pricing. So let's get into all the things I bought for my Switch 2. This is no formal fancy system of any research. This is just the things they tricked me into buying, so let's go. Alright, so the first thing, which honestly makes me the most mad off of this list, is the SSD card. So perfect, you probably have a couple of SSD cards laying around your house if you're anything like me, a micro SSD. No problem, we'll just throw that in here, perfect. Even maybe the one from my Switch 1. No, just kidding. Nintendo needs you to get the Micro Express SSD card, which are super hard to find. The 1 terabyte one has been on back order quite a bit. I did finally bite the bullet and purchase that. It's safely in my Switch 2. I'm not taking it out. It's too expensive for me to be breaking it for you. But I think I paid around $125. It was on the holiday promotion. I just waited till it went down to the price. And I didn't really want to buy it, but your hardware on your Switch 2, if you buy games digitally, which I do occasionally for the smaller titles, not the first party, but the system itself is only going to hold anywhere from 3 to 40 games from when I looked it up, all depending on how big of the files are. But the price of those SSDs is also most likely going to be going up pretty high within the next year. Some are saying up to 50 to 100% more. I don't know. I could not risk that. So I went ahead and did pick that up. Currently they are, when I looked today, in January 1st, they were $189 on Amazon. I'll include the link, but who knows what they are today. Could go up, could go down. Like everything else in 2025 pricing, we'll see. Pro controller. So I have my Pro controller for the Switch 1 and the Switch 2 here. So honestly, looking at them, I think that the Switch 2 one is uglier, in my opinion. The Switch 1 has a slightly clear, it's not super clear, but it is slightly clear, and that gives me some 90s vibes, and I think it's more grippable, and so I have an easier time holding on to this one. So I prefer the Switch 1 controller myself. The Switch 2 controller has like these gray accents, which I don't even know why. I wish they would have made it the blue and red that match the actual device, but whatever. And there's a headphones jack, and this one will not wake your device up to incentivize you to buy the same thing again, which again, Nintendo kind of greedy, but that's just me. I have no proof of these allegations. And then the other thing is they have the chat button on there, which I don't use that feature. So like I said, all that to say, I probably wouldn't buy the Switch 2 Pro controller again, but if anything like the headphones, any of those were super important to you, or if you just need a second one, pick it up. So I happened to pick up, I had a Satisfye Grip for my Switch 1, and I did pay quite a bit less for it. However, it wasn't when the console first came out by any means. It had been out several years, and I just bought whatever ugly color no one wanted on Amazon. But with the Switch 1 coming out, I did pay, let me look at my notes to see if I can remember, $70, oh my goodness, for the Satisfye Grip and case. I did get the bundle, and I got the BeatEmUps pack, so I'll give my thoughts on both of these. So the Satisfye Grip is super comfortable. I had a cheaper Amazon one for the first few weeks while I was waiting on this to come to me, and I threw it away when this one came in because this one was just so much more comfortable. It is one of the few that I feel like is actually big enough, and I don't have super big hands. I'm only 5'5", so but I just find this super comfortable. If I don't have a grip at all, I do get like hand cramps. It's a very thin device. You need a grip. So I would recommend this one. How a picky thing I have about the grip is they do have these slots for games in the back, and it is dockable. So I like that I don't have to take it out to put it in the dock, but the little game slots, it's tricky to get in it it in and out. Even I have quite short nails, but still it feels like I'm going to break a nail getting it out. And I also just worry it's going to damage my cartridge. I don't know why I keep putting them in there. I don't learn, but I don't love that. And then let's talk about the case. So the case, I don't know if I would rebuy this for several reasons. So it's super big. It takes up a lot of space. Like if I'm throwing this in a backpack, like if I were taking a flight or something like that, this takes up most of the backpack. And I would argue even quite a bit more space than like bringing my MacBook with me, which is, I feel ridiculous. So it's, it does have enough room in there for the device inside this, as well as all the accessories. Now, if you want something like this with the Satisfye Grip on, you're going to need, it's going to be quite a bit bigger, I will say. So I get that. Another thing that super annoys me about this is I have cases similar to this that from the Switch 1, and they had a little elastic strip from here to here that you could Velcro, and then when you open it, it keeps the device from falling out. But I do find when I'm on the go and being my ADHD careless self, it's just super easy for this to slip out and like fall onto the ground. So I wish, and I might add one myself, just a little Velcro strap that keeps it buckled in. It does feel very premium and soft, so no notes there. The other thing is the game storage here. I put a game in just for display purposes, but you can't see the title at all when it's in there. So I never use this consequently. I have found with the Satisfye grips, they're pretty drop resistant. Do not test this. I will not pay for a replacement, but I have dropped my own Switch 1 and Switch 2 off of my bed, like fall asleep playing it. It rolls off in here and it has lasted pretty well. Multiple drops, mine has at least. So I just don't think I need this. If it can survive that, no problem. I feel like if I gently place it in my bag and there's clothing around it, that's plenty of padding in my opinion. This device is heavier than the Switch 1, and most of my playing is in handheld, but I do find after I play for a while, just the weight of the device will make me go to tabletop at times, and I would like to try out the Zen Grip in the future because then I wouldn't have to remove it at all. So when this device doesn't meet my needs as much as the Switch 1 grip did, because I never played in tabletop with Switch 1. So I guess it's changed how I played from Switch 1 to Switch 2. So I'm not sure if this grip is the best fit for my needs long term. That was probably way too much information, but moving on to the next item. The Switch 2, I play in tabletop mode quite a bit more than my Switch 1. The device is heavier, and so I am almost exclusively a handheld player unless I'm playing with my son. But the Switch 2 device just gets a little heavier and it's a bigger screen, so I can have it a little further away. So I bought these on Amazon for $5 and they go in the magnetic rails on the side. They're actually made to be a car headrest. So I think I just got it when the device was new and I was excited and it was $5. I was like, why not? But I use these for tabletop mode. So it flips back and I like that they're tiny, so I can just throw it in the bag for on the go. And then I just play when I'm playing mostly in bed at night while I'm relaxing, and then in tabletop mode. All right, see, now as we get into the weird, somewhat a little trashy, but it will work, stuff that I have used for my Switch 2. So I also had this cheap little retro TV. I noticed the antenna just fell off when I was transporting it. I will hot glue that back on, don't worry. But we have this little retro TV, and I just happened to have this. I used to use this to magnify my phone and watch it, but I noticed that this screen is the exact same size as a Switch 2 screen. So I added little Velcro strips to these, and this then I will put while I'm playing tabletop mode. And something about the nostalgia super hits with this. And it cost me, like I said, $5 total, and just some finagling with some hot glue and some Velcro strips that I found laying around my house. So I don't know if anyone is interested in recreating my somewhat trashy DIY craft, but hey, go for it. It will save you from giving Nintendo. Can you imagine if Nintendo did? I mean, of course, it'd be prettier than this, but it would probably be a couple $100. So this is within my budget. All right, so now that I saved you some money, let's go back to talking about Nintendo taking all your money. So I did get the GameCube controller for my Switch 2. So this is a Switch 2 exclusive accessory, and you do have to be a member of the Nintendo membership. I'm not sure if you have, I'm a member of the higher tier. I don't know if you have to be a member of that tier, but I was already a member of that. So this is for sale for $70, plus you have to be an active member along with all the other retro controllers. But I love this thing. I will say, if I had to do it again, I would not buy this Switch 2, and I would only buy this one, because this does wake up your system like the Switch 2 one does. But I use this controller a lot more than the Switch 2 Pro controller. I like the whimsy, the nostalgia. I didn't even play the GameCube when it was out originally. It was just at a time in my life where I wasn't gaming as much, or I was doing more phone gaming. But I think this controller is very casual gamer friendly, in that the buttons are easier to distinguish than the standard controller. I also just like the buttons up here. Anywho, it's a fun controller. It's the GameCube controller. Yes, they're somewhat robbing you blind that you have to be a member of their membership thingy to buy it. But then again, it's $20 cheaper than the Pro 2 controller. So, I don't know. Pick your poison, guys. Waste your money like you want. So now I wanted to talk a little bit about a game case. So this is mine. I had this for the Switch 1 as well. Actually, I got this from my mom for Christmas. Thanks, Mom. And this is a Blockbuster collab that was on Amazon. As of right now, it's not available on Amazon. I did see a couple of other retailers online that were still selling it, but I love this case. It is, I think I paid around 25, maybe even 30 bucks for it, which is too much, but it looks like a retro VHS tape, and it even comes with a little outer shell. And it also feels very premium inside, and with as expensive as all of the games are, I do not want any damage to my cartridges. So I've ordered some cheaper cases on Amazon before and put a game in it and then just immediately thrown it away, because it just felt like it might break my cartridge, and I'm not having that. Some of these cartridges are 70 bucks plus now. So, but it just has them all in here, and I also like how you can easily see them. That's also a must for me in game storage. As I mentioned with the case earlier, I don't have time to know where each of them are or put them in some sort of organized, reliable fashion. I need to just be able to see at a glance where they all are. And I do have 2 of these. I love it so much. And if they come back on Amazon, I'll probably get a 3rd. I have a problem. But this will fit your Switch 2 or Switch 1 games. So if it comes back, I'll try to find a link, but it might be gone forever. Quickie things as we wrap up, and then you can get to giving Nintendo all your money. So a thing that is not a Nintendo 2 exclusive item, but that you are going to have to get, is a battery. So I just recently picked this one up because I like that it goes on my phone for MagSafe, and it's small, but it does have the USB-C. But the battery for your Switch 2 is way worse than the Switch 1, in my opinion. So you're going to need to keep something like this handy when you're traveling with the Switch 2. So there's nothing super special about this charger. It was just the cheapest one that fit my needs that was on sale on Amazon. Other quirky, weird accessories that may or may not be a good idea to buy. So let's talk about the wheels. I got both of these items when I first got the Switch 2 day of, and I think both of these were kind of just like, I'm excited purchases, an add-on. I don't know if I would buy either of these again. But let's talk about the wheels. So I bought the bundle with Mario Kart, so I picked these up because I do play with my 9-year-old. I think he may be a bit old for these now, which does make me sad as a mom, but he wasn't as excited about these as I thought he might be. But they are very well made. The magnetic rail does snap in there super easy. I will keep them handy for probably if we go to family gatherings. I think my dad might be more excited about these than my son will, because we love to get together and play retro Wii games as well. So I think he might like this. But these are $25 right now. So it is pretty expensive considering it's just a hunk of plastic. But then again, like, I don't know, it's it is kind of in that impulse buy range. If it's $25, if your kids are young, I think it is worth it if they're super excited about it, just because they're only going to be that age once. I think a lot of Nintendo, at least in my experience as a mom, is about like building those fun family experiences, especially multi-generational play. So all that to justify yet my overconsumption of this cheap thing of plastic. I get it. All right, so last thing I got was this camera plant. So I probably would buy this again, but I have mixed feelings. So this is one of the USB-C cameras, and you open his mouth, and it's the camera, and then you close it, and it has the privacy, which I love that, so I don't have to worry about creepers. And I also love that it goes on the top of my device, and then I can play on the go and still have the camera feature. The first party Nintendo camera didn't have that. You can also like even use it on the top of your monitor, which I did have mine on the top of my monitor just for vibes earlier, but I took it off my work computer. But the thing that I don't like about this device is that Nintendo just really hasn't done much with the camera feature. So I've noticed this as I've been watching some Scott the Woz documentaries about all the various devices, that sometimes the fun, quirky features that they're talking about when they launch a device, they don't end up using that much, which kind of makes me remember about mouse mode and what happened to that, but another day. But I wish they would do more games with the camera. I guess I was expecting more of like the DS camera game type fun shenanigans, and we haven't gotten that yet, and maybe we will, maybe we won't. I did only pay $30 for this thing. The pricing for this little piranha plant camera is all over the map. Today I looked online, you can get one anywhere 30 to 60 bucks. Like on Nintendo.com it's 60, but like nowhere else. So I also do think it's super cute on a shelf. So I don't know. If you want to waste 30 bucks on this, like I've bought stupider things for 30 bucks than this. But also Nintendo could maybe give us a reason to care about the camera. All right, so I hope you found any of this helpful. Give me a subscribe, give me a like, give me a comment. Any of that will super help the engagement. And I'll see you next time.